Good afternoon, my News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for March 10, 2024. And in the news this afternoon, PNP urges government to safeguard employees amid Port Management Security Limited changes. The People's National Party is expressing concern over the future of current employees of Port Management Security Limited as the government plans to subsume the agency under the Customs Department. In a release, the opposition said it has been alerted to actions indicating the termination of services of a PMSL, which is a subsidiary of the Port Authority of Jamaica. According to Member of Parliament for St. Catharines South, Fitz Jackson, the PMSL was created following the September 11 terrorist attack and came into operation in 2005 with responsibility of intercepting arms, illicit drugs, and other contrabands from entering the country through the seaports. Jackson is raising concerns that with the integration of PMSL into the Jamaica Customs Department and the solicitation of public applications, provisions have not been made for current employees. There appears to be a lack of provision for current employees who have demonstrated exceptional dedication and effectiveness in their roles. The success in intercepting illegal goods was not solely due to the collaboration with the JCF and the Jamaica Customs, but also owed greatly to the specialized skill set and the professionalism of the PMSL team, said Jackson. As a result, the PNP says it is stressing the need for transparency and fair processes to safeguard the interest of PMSL employees. With many individuals having served for over 2 decades, with impeccable records, it is imperative to explore options such as secondment arrangements to incorporate them into the Jamaica Customs Department without compromising operational integrity. Failing to consider the fate of these committed individuals would not only be unjust, but also detrimental to the nation's security efforts, the release said. The MP further urged the government to prioritize the welfare of the PMSL employees to ensure that restructuring measures are implemented with consideration for those affected. Penalizing citizens for their effective service would undermine the integrity of our institutions and erode the public trust, Jackson stressed. McDonald removed from tombstone of Beachy Stout's second wife. Even in death, the rift between the Hamiltons and the McDonalds was apparent as the headstone of the grave of 32-year-old Tonya Hamilton McDonald, Beachy Stout's second wife, had just her maiden name. Even the slip of the tongue by a journalist on Wednesday after the guilty verdict, mistakenly referring to Tonya's relatives as McDonald, was met with a sharp rebuke. "No, McDonald, forget that name. That is no more. Done with that," her mother Sonia Davis Hamilton said. Tonya, 32, was killed on July 20, 2020, and Everton Beachy Stout McDonald, her husband, and the co-accused Oscar Barnes were convicted on Wednesday after a 7-member jury returned a unanimous guilty verdict after 64 minutes of deliberation. The men were both charged with murder and a conspiracy to murder and will be sentenced on May 16. McDonald, Tonya's marital name, which was used on occasions while she was alive and documented on several business titles, as seen by the news back in 2021, was omitted from the gravestone. She was buried beside her father at a cemetery in St. Mary, where they are from. The news found the graves after they were directed by a person who attended Tonya's funeral. Davis Hamilton, speaking with a journalist on Wednesday, said publicly that McDonald was responsible for the murder of her husband and that she was also shot and left for dead during the incident. However, residents of Portland, with whom the news team spoke during an investigation in the parish in 2021, were frank in their response to the death of Tonya. One resident told the news, "The first wife Petal shouldn't dead. None of them shouldn't dead. But you see, licky, money is the root of all evil." The resident, who knew the parties well, alleged that from Tonya was attending high school, she and the businessman were an item. From she go in Teachfield High School, she and Beachy a friend, and because of money, she did need education again. She a drive go to school, the resident told the news. It was disclosed during the trial that McDonald showered her with gifts that included cell phone and jewelry. Some community folk went as far as stating that Tonya knew that it was Beachy Stout who killed Petal, for which he was charged years later, outlining that Tonya even visited the crime scene on May 2, 2009. Tonya was found dead on July 20, 2020, and Beachy Stout was arrested a month later. The contracted killer, Denverlin Bobla Minot, detailed in the Home Circuit Court how he lured Tonya to a deserted roadway along Sherwood Forest in the parish and watched as the man he subcontracted, Barnes, stabbed her repeatedly. Minot, 46, pleaded guilty to murder for his role in the killing. He will serve 10 of the 19-year sentence before he becomes eligible for parole. The news during the special investigation was told by other residents that in their estimation, Tonya did not have to die as she was not a threat to McDonald's wealth. Prosecutors concluded that McDonald wanted Tonya dead because he believed she was giving him bond, as a Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions, Sophia Rowe, said in her closing arguments recently. The girl I couldn't touch Beachy with him, I said. The first wife has that power to make him walk on Port Antonio Street and make him talk to himself mad out, a family friend told the news back in 2021. The residents told the news that fear was instilled in Portland people as the accused had fielders working for him. After him killed Tonya, him sent out whole heap of hitman in the street to question you like police, just to hear if you say anything bad. And a normal man, you know, powerful and dangerous and have a lot of cruel people that work with him, a resident told the news. Tonya's partially burnt body was found with her throat slashed and 9 stab wounds outside the shell of her burnt Toyota Axio car in Sherwood Forest, Portland. According to court documents, $3 million was the contracted price for the hit, and it was also stated that instructions were clear on how the killing should be done. The hitmen were instructed not to use a gun. McDonald's first wife, Marlene, was shot and killed in similar contractual arrangements after she moved out of the marital home and was filing for divorce. Beachy Stout is to stand the trial next year for Marlene's 2009 murder. Man deported to Jamaica after previous attempt blocked by protesting passengers. A Jamaican-born man was deported to the island from the UK after a previous attempt to return him was blocked by protesting passengers, according to British media reports. Lawrence Morgan, 27, was deported to Jamaica on a commercial flight and handed over to local authorities on February 25, reported The Sun. He was reportedly jailed following a 2020 shooting between gangs on the streets of Birmingham City. However, efforts to deport him to Jamaica in November of 2023 on a British Airways flight was foiled by fellow passengers who became unnerved, according to the Daily Mail, after Morgan had to be physically restrained at the back of the aircraft. According to the report, the aircraft's captain returned to the terminal building so Morgan could be removed from the flight because of the protest. He is reported to have thanked the passengers as he was being led from the jet. Following the failed deportation, Morgan, who had arrived in the UK as a child, is said to have launched an unsuccessful bid to remain in the country, claiming he knew nobody in Jamaica. Firearm and ammo seized in Portmore. Police assigned to the St. Catherine South Protective Investigation Unit seized one firearm and several rounds of ammunition on Watson Boulevard, Cedar Grove, Portmore, St. Catherine on Saturday. Reports are that about 5:20 p.m., lawmen were canvassing the area, which led to an open lot being searched. The search yielded one Taurus Armos pistol loaded with a magazine containing 4 9mm rounds of ammunition. The weapon was subsequently seized. No one was arrested in connection with the seizure.